Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going to be stepping into a world of, museum heists and priceless artifacts and all that good stuff.
World where, a single choice can totally change your life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we'll be looking at the choices made by Mia.
A museum curator.
Right, a museum curator who gets tempted into this crazy heist by this mysterious guy named Leo.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it really is. And by end of this deep dive, I think you'll really understand these characters and all the tension and intrigue that makes this story so gripping.
You might even find yourself asking, what would I do?
Oh, totally. So right away, we're introduced to Mia, and we see her at the museum late at night, handling all these artifacts with gloves, which, shows how much she cares about preserving history.
Right. It's not just about being careful. It's like she really respects the object.
Exactly. And then that makes it even more interesting later on when,
When she starts thinking about stealing something.
Yeah, how could she? She's so dedicated.
It's a great setup for her internal conflict.
For sure, for sure. And then we meet Leo, this super confident and charming guy, almost too charming,
Definitely. He approaches Mia, and he already knows who she is and what she does.
He doesn't waste any time.
Nope. He knows about that security flaw she found, and he wants her help.
To exploit it. Yeah.
Yep. And he says that line, you're too smart to waste your time there.
Which is so manipulative, but also...
Kind of true.
I know, right? It's like he's tapping into her frustrations, her unfulfilled potential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes his crazy proposition start to sound
Tempting.
Yeah. Like maybe this is the change she needs.
The story even says that Mia can't concentrate the next day.
Oh, yeah, I remember that part.
She's just completely thrown by this encounter with Leo.
Makes sense. It would mess with anyone's head.
Totally.
Yeah.
So then she meets Leo at this cafe.
But she's super nervous.
Yeah. She's fidgeting and sipping her coffee.
Unsure if she should just run away.
Right. But of course she doesn't.
Leo's too good at, playing on her emotions.
He talks about how she's undervalued at work, the money she could make.
The chance for a fresh start.
Yeah, all very tempting stuff.
Totally. And then she finally asks him, what's the plan?
So she's hooked.
She's definitely intrigued, despite all her reservations.
And then Lyle lays it all out.
All the details of the heist.
Yeah, like how they'll study the guard schedules, create a distraction, disable the alarms, get the artifact.
But when she asked about what happens after...
It's really vague, right?
Totally. Just says, we split the money and disappear. Easy.
Too easy.
Which makes you wonder, is he being completely honest with her?
Probably not. There's definitely something he's not telling her.
Right. It makes you really question whether you can trust him.
Definitely adds to the suspense. Plus, we get these little glimpses into Leo's past, right?
His messy apartment.
That photo of him from another heist.
He even says, back then, I could take on anything. There's more to him than meets the eye.
Totally. He's got baggage, maybe even regrets.
He even says, I'm too old for that now. It makes you wonder, is this heist like his last hurrah?
Oh, interesting. Is he trying to convince himself as much as Mia?
Yeah. And as they plan the heist, they meet secretly at the cafe,
And the tension builds.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Mia asks him about how he knows so much about the museum, right?
And his answer is so cryptic. Let's just say I used to be very good at this kind of thing.
So mysterious.
It just makes you question him even more.
Yeah, who is this guy really?
Exactly. And then finally, the night of the heist arrives.
The museum is empty.
Silent, eerie.
Mia's nervous. I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah, she's constantly looking over her shoulder, worried about the cameras.
And Leo, of course, is
totally calm, cool, collected.
so different from her.
It really shows how their experiences have shaped them.
Oh, for sure. Then we find out that they're after a golden mask.
A golden mask. So we actually get a visual of what they're trying to steal.
Yeah, not just some, abstract idea of an artifact.
And they're just about to get it.
When they hear a noise.
Oh, man, that's a classic cliffhanger.
I know. Mia's freaking out, thinking they've been caught.
But Leo tries to play it cool.
Yeah. But, he's probably freaking out on the inside, too.
Right. It's like, what happens next? Who was that? Did they get caught?
So much suspense.
Phew. That noise, just totally changes things.
Oh, absolutely. It's all of a sudden the stakes are even higher.
And remember, Mia is already so on edge.
Right. Always looking over her shoulder.
Yeah. Even Leo, who's supposed to be the experienced one.
Right.
He's carrying all that baggage from his past.
For sure. So that noise just adds to all the anxiety.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how they react so differently.
Yeah. How so?
Well, Mia, she's totally new to this whole world of crime, right?
Yeah, she's way out of her comfort zone.
Of course, she's terrified. But Leo, he's like trying to stay calm.
Like he's seen it all before.
Exactly. It makes you think about how our experiences shape how we deal with danger.
Oh, that's a good point. It's like you don't really know fear until you've been there, right?
Exactly. And as they're, making their escape with the mask,
Yeah.
the tension doesn't go away.
Nope. They're racing against time, not knowing if they've been discovered or not.
And that whole thing with the noise?
Yeah. The story doesn't tell us what it was right away, does it?
Nope. Which is smart, right? Keeps you guessing.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's like, what was that? Was it a real threat or just some random thing?
Right. Maybe just a way to, keep the suspense going.
Totally. Okay, but let's talk about Leo for a second.
Oh, yeah. He's such an interesting character.
We get those glimpses into his past, remember?
His apartment, the photo from that other heist.
Oh, yeah. And he says that line like, back then I could take on anything.
Right. Like there's so much more to him than he's letting on.
Totally. He's definitely got some secrets, maybe some regrets.
And he even says, I'm too old for that now.
Makes you wonder if this heist with Mia is like his way of trying to start over. Yeah. Like a last chance to escape the life he's trapped in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to wonder, can he really change?
Right. I mean, he's probably said that before, right?
One last job and all that.
Exactly. So is this time really different? Can he actually leave his past behind?
It's a question. I think the story kind of leaves it up to you to decide.
Oh, that's interesting. Makes you think about, second chances and whether people can really change.
For sure. And then there's Mia, right in the middle of all this.
Yeah, she's kind of the heart of the story in a way.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
She represents, like, the ordinary person who gets caught up in something way bigger than themselves.
Yeah, she never wanted any of this, really.
And now she's facing some serious consequences.
Makes you think about, the choices we make in life.
And how those choices can, ripple out and affect everything.
And we're still left wondering, right? So many questions. Will Mia and Leo actually get away with it? What happens if they get caught?
And what about the relationship?
That's a good one. I mean, they started out as total strangers.
And now they're partners in crime.
It's definitely complicated.
Oh, totally. It makes you think about, how shared experiences can bring people together, even when they come from such different worlds.
And whether those connections can lead to good things or bad things.
It's all part of what makes this story so gripping.
Absolutely. You're just like hooked from beginning to end.
Okay, so last we left off, Mia and Leo are getting away. They've got the mask. But, there was that noise in the museum.
Yeah, that really makes you think, like, what if they get caught?
Right. And for Mia especially, that would be like the worst case scenario.
I mean, she'd lose her job, her reputation, everything.
Exactly. It really shows how, like, actions have consequences.
And those consequences can be huge. It kind of adds this, moral element to the story.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, even if they get away with it, can they live with what they've done?
Right. Especially Mia. She's been, like, fighting with her conscience this whole time.
She's always been so dedicated to the museum, and now she's betraying everything she believes in.
It's a tough situation. And it makes you really feel for her,
Definitely. She's not some hardened criminal. She's just someone who made a bad choice.
Yeah, but it's more than that, right? Like, she was tempted by Leo.
Oh, yeah. And by the idea of a new life, the money.
All that stuff. And then there's Leo, who's kind of like the driving force behind this whole thing.
Right. He's the one who planned it all.
And we know he's got his own, issues.
His past, his anxieties.
Yeah, he's looking for like one last score to escape all that.
But can he really change?
Yeah.
That's the big question.
Right. Like he wants to believe he can, but
it's hard to outrun your past.
Exactly. And his relationship with Mia is super interesting, too.
Yeah. It's kind of messed up, right?
Totally. I mean, they barely know each other.
And their partnership is built on secrets and lies.
But there's also this, like, weird connection between them.
Yeah, it's like they're both looking for something.
A new beginning, maybe.
Or maybe just, someone who understands them.
But it's dangerous, right? Like, their connection could lead to their downfall.
Oh, for sure. And the story really makes you think about all that stuff.
It's like more than just a heist story.
Totally. It's about choices, consequences.
Human nature.
Definitely. It makes you wonder, what would you do in that situation?
Yeah. Would you risk it all for a chance at a new life? Or would you, like, stick to your principles?
It's a tough question.
It really is. And I think that's what makes this story so great, It leaves you with a lot to think about.
Yeah, it stays with you.
Totally. So yeah, that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us.